Welcome to Glow for Hope, sparking conversation on mental health, where we break the silence, build community, and ignite hope. We're here to talk about what really matters: mental health, wellness, and the conversations that help us all feel seen and supported. Every episode will bring real stories, expert insights, and practical tools to help you navigate mental wellness and suicide prevention. Because together, we can change the conversation. Let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of the Glow for Hope podcast. I'm Delisa Richardson, and alongside me is my amazing co-host, Kelly Pelker.
Hey there, we're so glad you're joining us today as we launch into this meaningful journey, the Glow for Hope podcast. Glow for Hope is all about sparking conversations, creating community, and igniting hope around mental health and suicide prevention.
Now, absolutely. Now, our mission is simple but powerful. We want to illuminate the path toward a brighter future by creating safe spaces where we talk about mental health and it feels like it's approachable and supportive and never scary or intimidating.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the podcast is about. We're here to share stories, resources, and have conversations that help break down stigmas and foster empathy, because everyone deserves to feel supported, valued, and hopeful.
Agreed. Now, speaking of support and help, today we're going to dive right into why Glow for Hope matters so much to us personally and what you can expect from future episodes. So, Kelly, why don't you start and tell us why Glow for Hope's important to you? Why'd you found this?
Why did I get us into this?
Yeah.
The whole idea of Glow for Hope originated from doing an AFSP, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Glow volleyball tournament fundraiser. Shortly after my nephew died by suicide, my daughter invited me and my husband to one of the AFSP Out of the Darkness walks down in Louisville, Kentucky, where she lives. And during one of those visits, we went to dinner at a local bar, and it just happened to be that night they were having a Glow volleyball tournament. And I was like, this is such a cool idea. We could totally do this back home. We, have been involved in, I've been a sand volleyball player for longer than I should have been playing. So with that idea, I was like, it would be cool to kind of adopt the AFSP honor beads,
Yes.
codes and stuff. The honor beads are, if you're not familiar with them, they are, I think it's 9 different colors, and each color signifies an individual's connection to suicide. So when you go to these walks and different things, you can really just kind of tell and relate to people simply by the color of the beads that they're wearing, what their connection is. So I was like, okay, we could have all the players could wear glow necklaces that coincided with those honor beads. So 2 years passed since the original idea. We continue to go to the walk each year, and each and every walk, my list of names for those I was walking in honor of continued to grow. And that just kind of broke my heart, and I had to do something different to make a difference. And so we finally put together our first tournament in July of 2023. And by the time the planning was done, it was easy to see that there was just so much more that we could do and get out into the community and get people talking and, feel okay saying in an obituary that someone died by suicide instead of leaving all these questions unanswered. And so then Glow for Hope was born from the first Spike Out Suicide tagline, which we still hold today, which is Bump, Set, Glow for Hope.
I love it. And what you said about the obituaries and not wanting to say, the dirty secret that someone died by suicide, that is really why I wanted to get involved in Glow for Hope. As a kid, I'd lost multiple family members to suicide and really had no idea. There was just always this kind of cloud hanging over what happened. Nobody really wanted to say what had happened. And then when I got older, I would finally able to pry it out of some people. And it really made me angry because I would have loved to have known, because some of the struggles that I was having, I would have liked to known that I had that history, in my family. Mm-hmm. It would have helped. And then just to know, the trauma of some of those that were left behind and how they acted, it really would have helped me understand some things about how suicide affects those left behind as well. And when I saw you doing Glow for Hope, I'd also go through my own struggles. I had some other family members going through struggles. I said, this is something that I want to get involved with because we need to shout this from the rooftops. We need to break this stigma. That's my big thing. I want the stigma to be broken. I want people to talk about it because you cannot help what you don't talk about.
Exactly. And it's not just, you know, suicide. It's the whole mental health in general.
Yes.
You know, we talk in a future episode with Dr. Ursula Daniels, and she talks about that mental health is a continuum, and it very much is. And the same token in what you're talking about as far as you know, it affects so many that are left behind. I literally just today was watching some trailers on this movie that was done by a guy. Oh, I'm going to choke on his name. I can't. Kevin Hines, I think it was, called the Suicide: The Ripple Effect.
Wow.
And it's just, I mean, just in the 20-minute free episode that they gave you to look at, it was just like, wow. I mean, this guy was he jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge and lived, and now tells his story about all of it, and did this documentary, and he talks about, you know, it's he didn't know that there were struggles that his family had, and then that turned to him and he had them, and they don't talk about it, and so then their kids wonder, because, you know, it happens, you know, someone died by suicide when they were 2. They're too young to understand and process. So then by the age of 12, they tell the mom tells them that their dad died of suicide. And well, then all of those feelings just start coming up again. So then they start the mental health stuff. And it's just
You're right.
this whole ripple effect. And so, you know, the more that we can get people talking about their feelings and their struggles, and understanding, and giving them techniques and tools to learn to manage those things. I think that's our overall goal. And ultimately, then that leads to a reduced rate of suicide.
Exactly. And, you know, we're just going to get real for a moment. You know, mental health struggles, they don't discriminate. There's not a person on this planet that hasn't struggled with mental health. You know, sometimes it just feels like nobody understands, like nobody's there. And that's where we want to step in as Glow for Hope. You know, we want to remind people that you're never truly alone. And we like to do that through some really cool events in places that you may not expect an organization like this to be.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And, you know, I mean, it sounds kind of cliche as far as, you know, our vision is to make the world a brighter place. But it's true. And through those events and the education and the community connections, we believe it's possible. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. And, you know, I always have it in my head that we are not doing enough. We need to do more. What is our impact really? And then, y- you know, I did that Facebook post not long ago about, you know, we sat at the Grizzlies game for hours, and people walk by, and, you know, they don't really come over and see and check out what you have, and or they see the word suicide on a brochure, and it's like, yeah, you know, and they just kind of walk away, not in any kind of, you know, intentional way necessarily. But then the one guy that we were there to reach that night, he had walked by a couple times already and came back, and finally took a brochure and a glow necklace, and then he came back and told us his story, and he felt comfortable in doing that. And it's like, that's the impact we have. And, you know, it even happened at one of our Hot Rods for Hope events, that guy was already walking to his car, and he turned back around, and he's like, I'm going to go check and see what's happening over here. And poor guy had lost his brother to suicide. His mom was kind of a mess. He couldn't talk to her because he didn't want to burden her. And he really just kind of unloaded on us and told us his story. And he's like, I've not been able to say that to anyone, and I feel so much better. And
And
we were all like, can we just give you a hug?
right. I
So
mean,
we get free hugs too.
that makes it all worth it. And I always like to think, even though, you know, the people who really lock eyes with us, but they don't come over to the booth, I still think that seed has been planted.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe at another time, or it gets them thinking, okay, I didn't go over there, but I did see, maybe I need to do some more research. Maybe I'll check them out online.
Mm-hmm.
Because, some people aren't ready for certain things, but I can tell when a seed has been planted when they lock eyes with us, even if they don't come over. So,
For sure. And sometimes they come walking back when they're not with their group of friends and grab something.
that's right. That's right.
So,
So, in addition to some of the cool things that we do out in the world, this podcast, over our next few episodes, and then just going forward with our episodes, we are going to have guests. We have experts, survivors, educators, community leaders, just the gambit, and they're going to provide you with some real, actionable insights and resources that we know will be helpful.
yep. And of course, we'll keep talking about the different creative ways that Glow for Hope's raising awareness. I've already mentioned our Spike Out Suicide Tournament, the Hot Rods for Hope Car Glow, and just, advocacy can be fun and
Yeah, we have a good time.
joyful. But it's like we're not supposed to say that we can have fun at a fundraiser for mental health and suicide prevention, but it's what breaks down those walls that it is okay to talk about.
Right. And everybody needs that, that hug, that smile, just to know someone understands. We have those hard conversations, but at the end, a lot of times there's a smiling face and we're just like, okay, go have you a good time. Go in there and get you, see these folks playing some ball, get you a soda, get you whatever you need, and listen to this music and have a good time. And they are saying, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I mean,
That's part of taking care of you.
exactly. And, I like to think of this not just as a podcast. I like to think of it as the beginning of the community, a community here. We really are more of an extension to the community than we've already stated, just through the events and everything that we do. And your voice matters to us, so we really want you to reach out, share your thoughts, let us know about any topics that you'd like us to cover. Follow us on all of our socials, at Glow for Hope, and give us some ideas. Get this thing going.
Yep, we're open to any and all possibilities. We've gotten some good ones so far that have been tossed out, and you talked about us being an extension of the community, and I just because I have a long history in podcasting, it's going to further our reach to so many more people outside of our community. And after you listen, go remember to subscribe, rate, and review, and tell your friends about it, and let's help this grow while we
That's
grow.
right, because we want to be everywhere. Hey, if you're somewhere that may not be in the area where we are, but you would like to get something started, we would love to help.
Absolutely,
We would love to see that.
absolutely.
We're trying to glow it up everywhere.
We could have a Spike Out Suicide Tournament anywhere. A Hot Rods for Hope. We had one guy that was talking about doing one out in California somewhere, and so we're open to anything.
That's right.
No geographical boundaries. So before we wrap up today, then here's just a gentle reminder to you that it's okay not to be okay. It's even better to talk about it. If you or someone you love needs support, we're here. We've got your back. We are not, we'll say, we are not licensed therapists or medical professionals or anything. We're just people with lived experiences and traumas and big shoulders.
Yes.
And hugs.
Yes. Great hugs. And that's well said. Together, we really want to just break the silence, stop the stigma, and we want to spread the glow of hope far and wide. Like I said, we want to glow up everywhere.
Well, thanks for tuning in today. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review. Join us next time as we keep lighting the way. Spark conversations, create community, ignite hope.
Until next time, keep glowing.
Thank you for joining us on Glow for Hope. If today's conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, your mental wellness matters, and you are never alone. For more resources and support, visit glowforhopenfp.org. That's glowforhopenfp.org. Stay connected, stay hopeful, and keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep shining.
This podcast does not and is not intended to provide medical advice. The information presented on this podcast should not be interpreted or construed in any way as a replacement or substitution for medical advice. It is important that you discuss your condition, treatment options, or any questions that you may have with your doctor or healthcare provider.